Welcome to Agba's Epic Tales. The title of today's story is Amaebi was married for 10 years without any child to call her own. 4 years after her marriage, her husband, Ebiere, took another wife. The new wife, Tonye, took in immediately she was married into Ebiere's home. This made Amaebi felt more miserable. 6 years later, Tonye had given birth to 4 children, and Amaebi hasn't even been able to bear even just one child. Ebiere no longer took care of her, as all his attention was on his second wife and their 4 children. Oh God, why have you chosen to deal with me so badly? Am I just a piece of furniture in my husband's house? Why have you blocked my womb, God? Amaebi would always say all the time as she cried and prayed to God to have mercy on her. Amaebi barely ate any food. Instead, she consumed numerous herbal drinks and concoctions obtained from the various herbal doctors and midwives she had visited in her quest to conceive. Her appearance deteriorated to the point where her husband began to avoid her. Amaebi, once known for her beauty that had made other men envious when Ebiere married her years ago, now appeared gaunt, lean, and unattractive. Her co-wife Tonye mocked her. She is a witch who has eaten up all her children. I guess there are no more children remaining in her womb for her to eat. That is why her blood is now drying up. Tonye started telling everyone who cared to be part of her gossip. In the past, Pereundu, who was Amaebi's cousin, had taken her to a spiritualist in search of a solution to her problem. The spiritualist had told her that for her to get pregnant, she and her husband must come to the river bank at night, and that her husband will then be required to sleep with her right at the river bank. According to the spiritualist, while her husband sleeps with her, the spirit of the water will possess her husband's body and help him to impregnate her. Amaebi found the whole process weird. She also knew that her husband would not agree to it, and so she had declined. But right now, she was more desperate than ever, as she could not bear the rumors and mockery from her co-wife. So, she sought the help of her cousin again, Pereundu. With the help of Pereundu, Amaebi drugged her husband and carried him to the river bank at the dead of the night, where she was able to sleep with him as part of the process to getting a solution to her barrenness. Soon, Amaebi found out that she was pregnant. Oh, the discovery made her so happy and joyful. She sang every day from morning till night and ate the best meals she could prepare. Amaebi once again regained her former healthy and beautiful appearance. In fact, she appeared even more radiant due to the pregnancy and the overwhelming joy that filled her heart. Her husband, Ebiere, was drawn to her again. He had missed his once beautiful and robust wife and was glad to have her back again, and this time around with the gift of a child from her. Though Tonye was bittered, but there was nothing she could do about it. Within a short time, Amaebi delivered a beautiful baby girl. Oh, the baby was so beautiful that everyone who saw her confessed that they had never beheld such beauty in the past. Amaebi was happy and grateful that at last she now has a child of her own. But there was something which bothers her. It was the fact that it was only 5 months ago that she had took her husband to the riverbank and slept with him. A pregnancy was supposed to last for the period of 9 months, but why was her own so short and for only 5 months? She looked at her baby. The baby was healthy like every other baby born at the right period of 9 months. Or could it be that she was already pregnant before the act at the riverbank? Could it be that it was Lord Makaja that had helped her conceive and not the water spirits? Lord Makaja was the name of the god of another juju man Amaebi had visited before she went to that of the water spirits. The juju man had instructed her to spend 3 nights in the shrine of his god, Lord Makaja, completely isolated from everyone. Amaebi nearly doubted her ability to endure those 3 nights due to the strange and unsettling noise she heard while she was there. But all that happened 3 months before she had gone to the water spirits when there was no sign of pregnancy. Still, Amaebi was still bothered. Her visit to Lord Makaja was 8 months ago and that of the water spirit 5 months ago. But a normal pregnancy should last for a period of 9 months, which was not so with hers. After much confusion without figuring who it was that actually helped her, Amaebi decided to put the thoughts out of her mind and just enjoy her motherhood. After all that matters now is that she's a mother of a beautiful baby girl and she now has the love and attention of her husband again. The baby girl was named Ebiere. Ebiere grew up healthy and very beautiful and was very much loved by her father. So many years passed and Ebiere was now 18 years old. Ebiere decided to celebrate her 18th year birthday in a grand style as it was a special one. His daughter is now a full-grown woman, ripe for marriage. It was also the day scheduled for the finalization of the betrothal between her and Amaebi, a wealthy young businessman. During the party, a sudden and alarming moment occurred when Ebiere collapsed and lost consciousness. Everyone was in a state of confusion as they tried to revive her. At last, Ebiere was successfully brought back to consciousness. However, the party had to come to an end abruptly. That evening, her mother stayed in her room as she slept in her arms. Suddenly, the whole room became very hot, and then a strange-looking man appeared in the room. He had large red eyes and large horns. He introduced himself as Lord Makaja. "The time has come for me to take my bride. You made a pledge to me when you came to me for help. She must not be married to another man or spirit except I, or you face my wrath. I will be waiting for you to perform the rites and hand her over to me as my wife very soon," the strange man said as he disappeared. Amaebi was overwhelmed by fear. She had indeed made a promise to Lord Makaja to offer anything in exchange for a child, but she had never intended to give up her own child. So, it was Lord Makaja who had made me conceived and not the water spirit, Amaebi said to herself. But I can't give him my child. He will have to ask for something else, she said again. 3 days later, while Ebiere and her friends were returning from the village square after attending their age grade meeting, Ebiere suddenly collapsed and lost consciousness again. Her friends, scared, carried her home where she was revived back to consciousness. That evening, while her mother looked after her, the whole room suddenly went cold this time, and then a strange-looking man appeared again. But this man was different from the other one who had appeared to her days earlier. He had a very long white hair which shone brightly that it almost made Amaebi go blind. I am the spirit that ruled the water. I gave you my bride as a daughter, but it is time for me to take her back. She must not be married to anyone. No man or spirit or human must have her, or your whole family would face my wrath. Return her to the river bank where the negotiation was made and perform all the rites for me to have my bride back. The strange man said and disappeared. Amaebi was terrified and confused. I thought it was Lord Makaja who helped me conceive. How is it possible for 2 different spirits to claim ownership over my daughter, and especially as a wife? See you in our next video for the concluding parts.